Hey, what's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time in your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. If you hear weird noises in the background, Paul is setting up, we got like a digital picture frame and he's setting it up in our entertainment center. So if you hear weird things, I don't know if you will, but just in case you do, that's what that is. But in today's video, we are going to be chatting about EDH Cards Worth the Money, Part 7. Can't really believe we're on Part 7. Here we are. But basically I will list in the description all the other parts, and basically what I like to do is like to talk about cards that are, I would say, like 5 and up, basically, because for some people splurging on a $5 Magic card is kind of a lot. I definitely know when I started playing Magic, that was definitely a huge step for me, where now I'm like, it's a $5 foil, I'll take 13. So yeah, anyways, can't believe we're on Part 7. Here we are, very excited to be sharing these list of cards with you. We got some really cool stuff to talk about, and let's just hop into it. So the first card, or I guess it's kind of cards really, that I want to chat with you guys about that I think are worth the money are the new Triome Lands that got printed in Ikoria. Yep, is that what that is? Ooh, I'm gonna adjust you guys a little bit. Ikoria, yeah, I really love these lands. I like that they have the name on them, so like they're basically fetchable, like they have that type on them, so like they have in this case, it's like Swamp Forest Island, so you're able to fetch them, which I think is really, really good. They do enter the battlefield tap, so that's kind of like one thing I would just kind of like to note that is something that is true, but to be honest, I think the trade-off for getting your colors is way too good to not mention these cards. And they do have cycling, so realistically, if you draw this at late stages of the game where you don't need it, you do have that. It is 3 mana to do it, which is like kind of a lot. I kind of wish this was like cycling 2, but it kind of makes sense because it's like 3 colors, so I get it. But anyways, I really enjoy the Tri-Lands. Definitely need to pick some of these up. I don't think I have any, but I really want them. They're really good. I very much need these, but yeah, they're great cards. So that is first up on my list that I wanted to talk to you guys about. The second card I want to talk to you guys about is for my tribal fans out there, fans who love tribal decks. And a card that I think is really, really good in those decks is Vanquishers Banner. And this card is like 5. I feel like it's so weird. Do you ever like hit the point in your like EDH career, I don't know, where you just like are like, wow, 7 mana, it's a lot. Like, does anyone feel that way, where sometimes you're just like, wow, that is kind of a lot of mana? But this is a very, very good card. I don't let that deter you. I think in the right play group, like if your play group is perhaps in like the slower side, which also too is definitely not a bad thing. I feel like some people think just because like some commander games, like you tend to get started on the slower side, like are not fun games or those aren't good games. I don't think that's true. I think there can definitely be really great games that go very long. Just because your deck is like a little bit slower, it doesn't make it bad. I feel like I could do like a whole video on that if you're interested. Let me know in a comment below. But anyways, Vanquishers Banner, this card is great. It does a lot of different things. You enter the battlefield, you choose a creature type, so any of the creature tribes that you have, they get +1/+1, which is great. And whenever you cast a spell of that type, you get to draw a card, which is great. It's a buff, and you get to draw cards. It's not a whole lot to say. It's a pretty simple card. This card's like sitting at about like $10 or so, but I definitely think it's worth it for your tribal decks. I like it. Especially one thing too that's really cool that I've been like working on a lot in my decks is like that balance of things, and like thinking like, okay, this card is a lot of mana, but is it worth it, and that sort of thing. And I think this card's definitely worth it, and especially if you're in a tribe that maybe the converted mana cost is fairly cheap. Like for example, I have zombies. I have this card in zombies, and zombies tend to be on like the lower CMC of things, and so this is a great card to put in there because it kind of, you know, it raises my CMC, but it's like I can get away with it because like a lot of the stuff is cheap. So I think this card is really great in tribal decks, particularly in tribal decks where your creatures are low CMC, because then also if you play multiple of those cards in a turn, like for example, say you have like one creature that's 3 mana, one that's 2 mana, and you play both of them, you get to draw 2 cards, which is great. So yeah, this card's great. I like it a lot. Okay, the next card that I want to talk about on my list is a combo. We're actually talking about 2 combos in this video, which is kind of funny. But the first combo is the Deadeye Navigator combo, mixed with Palinchron. I don't know how to say that. Or Peregrine Drake. Peregrine Drake is the more budget alternative card if you're interested. But basically, yeah, this is a combo, and if you're interested in combos, I think this is a good one to have. it's kind of one of those, like, if you're building a blue deck, you're kind of like, all right, I'll just like play this. You know what I mean? I don't think you need this. Is it going to enhance your deck and make it better? Yeah, absolutely. The way I feel about combos is kind of like I like to have it in my back pocket, just as kind of like an out. And that's basically how I feel about it. And that's basically how I feel about pretty much all of what my commander decks are. And I recently said this in a video, but I feel like the best commander decks are commander decks that are a jack of all trades, where you have an answer for this, an answer for that, an answer for this, an answer for that. And I feel like having a combo in your back pocket's like never really a bad thing. So, yeah, I just think like, if you're interested in a combo, why not Deadeye Navigator? Why not? Okay, let's chat next about this card called Zendikar Resurgent. I just recently learned that this card is Zendikar Resurgent and not Resurgence. Anyone else? No? Okay, cool. Basically, this card's 7 mana, and whenever you tap a land for mana, you add an additional mana that would produce. So it's very much like a Marara's Wake in that sense. I love Marara's Wake. I'm pretty sure I talked about that card in another one of these parts. I'm pretty sure I actually talked about it in the first part, but I love that. Doubling mana is super great. And in addition to that, whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. So it just kind of like does a lot of different things. And again, this is how I feel very similarly like Vanquishers Banner is like, it is a lot of mana, but if you're, first off, you're running this and you play it when you have like 7 lands, or you have your lands and your mana rocks that you cast this card, and then you get double mana. So that's really great. And then you play creatures, and then you just draw cards. Like, this card just, like, does, like, 2 things, and it does it pretty well. And if you kind of honestly want to break it down, and sometimes this is the way I think, is if you break it down, whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, that's very similarly to, like, Elemental Bond-esque effects, which are, like, about 3 mana. And if you want to think it's 3 mana for that, and then it's 4 mana to double your mana, it's actually a pretty cool trade-off when you really think about it. You're paying 4 mana for that, and then you're paying 3 mana for the draw spell. And there you go, 7 mana. So, does anyone else think like that? I don't know. It's my mathematical brain. I don't know. Okay. This card is awesome. This is Grasp of Fate. Oh, this card is so cool. Enters the battlefield for each opponent, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent the player controls until it leaves the battlefield. So it's basically a detention sphere / oblivion ring, but you get to do it for all of your opponents. Like, why would you not run this card? You know what I mean? It's just a good removal spell. I mean, the problem, I guess I would say, with this card is that you play it and then people are like, oh, we need to remove it. Because, like, here's the thing, is if you're playing like Oblivion Ring, you target one thing and then you target someone's thing, no one else is gonna like care. They're gonna be like, oh, like, you did the thing, like, great, I'm glad you exiled the thing. But with this, it's everyone's like, I'm mad you got rid of my best thing. However, it's 3 mana. Honestly, even if you stop this for like a couple of turns, you know, it's obviously really good. Just like for 3 mana to exile multiple things, like you're playing in like a 4 or 5 person commander pod, you know, you're exiling multiple things. I just think this card is really good. Kind of really feel like I forgot about this card for like a minute. I don't really see many people run it, or at least in my play group, I don't see many people run it, but I do think it is quite good. Okay, cool. Let's hop into talking about City of Brass. This card got reprinted recently, I feel like. And I feel like I use the term recently very loosely, because recently, truthfully, could have been like, I don't know, like a year ago. Let me adjust myself a little bit. I feel like I'm not as in frame as I could be. Okay, City of Brass. It becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage to you. You could definitely use this to your advantage if you want to build, like, I don't know, Bees deck. Dude, maybe I feel like I literally keep saying this, but I want to do like a mock deck tech, and I feel like I should do like a mock Bees deck tech, and City of Brass would definitely be in there. Basically, for those who don't know, Bees is just like, you do damage to yourself, and then you do damage to other people, and it's just like a fun sort of thing. But anyways, or like you do damage to yourself and cool things happen, you know? Anyways. Oh, do you know what would be really cool? If you do Bees and you get like an altar, any Black Mirror fans in here, the one episode Hated in the Nation where they have like the bees or whatever, that'd be a really cool altar. Anyways, that's not the point of this video, but you add 1 mana to any color of your pool. I feel like getting your colors is so important, and I feel like some people feel like, and I've definitely felt like this at the beginning stages of my EDH career. I don't know what the word is, but I was like, oh yeah, just like basics and everything, whatever. And I feel like it took me a minute to be like, oh no, like getting your colors is very important. And a City of Brass definitely gets you there. I feel like if you're, you know, building like, let's just say like 4 or 5 colors and you're looking for a land that, you know, is going to help you get there, there's definitely many choices. City of Brass is definitely that. And again, that little combo of dealing 1 damage, you could definitely do some bee stuff with that. So I just really want to build that deck now. That'd be so rad. Okay, speaking of getting colors, we have Bloom Tender. This card got reprinted. Did this card get reprinted recently? Hold up. I need to look this up. Uno momento, por favor. It did get reprinted recently in mystery boosters, but it didn't come in foil. So the foil for this card is ridiculous. It's almost like $500 for the foil, which is, oh no. Do you ever like sometimes look at like the market price and then it's like not the same thing as what it actually is? Right now, as I'm filming this, lightly played is like $279. That is still a lot of money for the foil. Anyways, this card is great. I really enjoy this. I have this card in Ladies? Yeah, 5 color, and I absolutely love it. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color to your pool. It's great. You can tap this and get 5 mana for a card that is 2 mana. This card is great. Super, super, super great. I feel like a great green staple card. Huge fan. That's that on that, you know? Cool. Okay, sweet. Let's talk about a card that needs a reprint because this card is pretty expensive. And this card is just awesome, and that is Kindred Discovery. Okay, I'm a huge fan of like tribal decks, and I love like cards that are just like a tribal card. Like I love cards like this. Like Vanquishers Banner. Like I love cards like that. I eat that stuff up. This card's great. It's 5 mana. You choose a creature type, so, you know, in your tribal decks, this is what you do. And whenever one of those ETBs or attacks, you get to draw a card. Whoa. This is like an enhanced version of like Biden of Thassa, like those types of things. Because they ETB or they attack, you draw a card. I have this card in... I have so many tribal decks. Merfolk. I'm pretty sure I have this card in Merfolk, but I feel like this works in so many different types of decks. I really enjoy this. I think the fact that it's when they enter the battlefield and when they attack you draw a card, you can just draw so many cards with this. This is so great. I love this. Another thing that this actually works for, which I think is really cool, is it works for like token type of things. So if you have like a lot of tokens entering the battlefield, you can totally draw a lot of cards with that, which is really cool. So this card's awesome. Definitely worth the money if you have a tribal deck. This card's great. Definitely needs a reprint though. Definitely. Okay, another combo. Exquisite Blood plus Sanguine Bond. Sanguine Bond is super cheap. Exquisite Blood, however, is pretty expensive. For good reason, though. Like, I feel like this card, like, deserves to be expensive because, like, this combo is so easy to get off. Well, okay, it's easy to get off and kind of. I say that because it's 10 mana for the combo. To play Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bond, it's 10 mana. And then you also need a way to actually get the combo off. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, people when they do combos, they're just, like, put it and they're like, oh yeah, like I did it. And it's like, there's kind of like more to the combo than there actually is. I don't know. I just feel like there's some people who just like don't know how combos work. They just like, they know that there is a combo, but they don't know how it works. Not like throwing shade or throwing tea. I'm just like, that's just the way it is. And some people don't know how these sorts of things actually work. So you actually do need a way to like lose or gain life to actually like trigger this effect to make this infinite combo happen. So if you don't have that, you don't really have a combo. If you don't have a lot of like gain life, lost life, whatever thing, you know, this combo is not going to work. So anyways, that being said though, combo is definitely great and I would definitely recommend it if you're doing a lot of like loss gain life. Like, I think this is super great. I really enjoy it a lot. So okay, last thing, and just kind of like in general, it's kind of like a general overview I would say that is worth it to spend money on, is your mana base. I mentioned a couple of lands in this video, but I really feel like investing in your mana base is just so good. And I feel like that's one of those things where, and like please let me know if like other people feel this way, but you just kind of like, there's some cards that you just are like, I'm not excited to buy that card. Like, you might feel the way about like a basic card like Soul Ring. You're like, gosh, do we really have to go? Like, I ran out of Soul Rings. Like, I really don't want to go and buy Soul Ring. Like, it's just kind of like a whatever card, you know? I'm not saying I'm that way, but I'm saying some people might be that way. Like, I don't want to buy that card. It's not exciting for me to get that card. And so I feel like for some people, they're like, oh, the mana base is like whatever. Like, I can just run basics and Evolving Wilds. And, you know, like, I love Evolving Wilds. I run Evolving Wilds too. Like, it's a very cheap card. But I think if you are, you know, you're watching this video, you're looking at recommendations on things to spend money on, that, you know, those cards are not bad. But I think the thing that puts you really over the edge and really gives you the advantage is those sorts of things where, you know, if you've got all these lands that enter the battlefield tapped, you're just slowing yourself down. And again, like I talked about the Triome cards, like lands that enter the battlefield tapped, they're fine. Like, it's fine to run some of those, of course, but I think there's definitely, you want, I would say, that mix of things, because you don't want like all your lands to enter the battlefield tapped, because you're just gonna, I would say, you're just gonna get frustrated. You're just gonna be like, oh, I really wanted to cast that one thing. I was 1 mana away, but my land entered the battlefield tapped. And to me, I think it's all about a balance. You know, you can have those lands that enter the battlefield tapped, and you can have lands that, you know, that do things that are great. But I also think at the same side of the spectrum, you need basics. And I think some people don't run enough basics in their commander deck, and I think that's a huge mistake. I don't know, you might get Blood Moon into Game of Commander. I don't know. Do people run Blood Moon in Commander? I guess they do. But I think also, too, more importantly, when someone pads your dude or whatever, sometimes, you know, it's just good to have basics. Or then you can run, you know, cards like Cultivate and stuff like that that only get basics. So I think it's all about, like, a balance with your mana base. And I think there's definitely a lot of cards that you can splurge on. If you're interested, I have a whole series on my channel called Let's Not Be Basic with Lands, where I talk literally all about just various lands at all price points. And we just chat about lands that are not basics. It'd be weird to be like, hey, you know what you should run in your deck? A forest. Have you ever considered that? Oh, that'd be funny. Anyways, guys, that is it for me. Talking about, why did I just like forget what we were talking about? EDH Cards Worth the Money, Part 7. Yeah. Check out those other videos in the down bar below if you haven't. I really like to know what cards you think are worth the money, because your card might be featured in another video. I already have parts of Part 8 planned, I think. I don't think I have anything beyond that. I think 8 is the next one that I have mapped out, but I don't think I've planned 9 or 10. As far as I know. So anyways, really like to know what you guys think about this video, and if you guys have any cards that you think are worth the money, leave me that in a comment below. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.